Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again as we get ready to step into the War Zone, the weekly acquisition report, the show where I, the Renegade, show you, the viewers, the latest additions to my ever-growing media library. You've heard me talking about the changes to the War Zone over the last few weeks. Probably been about a month now since the relaunch, and I'm I'm not going to give you the same old shtick anymore because I feel like you guys have heard it enough. You know what we're here to do. Talk about the newest additions to my ever-growing media library. Got another stack of records to go through today, vinyl LPs. These are actually all brand new, still sealed in the plastic. Most of these were got off of eBay, Evil Bay. One of them I found in a pawn shop. The owners of the pawn shop are getting ready for retirement, so they were just clearing everything out. And the other one I found in Target. When we get to that one, there's an interesting little story that goes with it. So we'll get to those there. But the first few that we're going to go through were all from eBay. And hopefully by now you guys know that my taste is kind of all over the board. I'm not just a rock guy. I'm not just a hip hop guy. I'm not just a country guy. I got a little bit of everything in me. I like a wide variety of stuff. With the exception of like techno, house, EDM, because the beats are just like, they give me a headache if I'm being completely honest. And on the flip side, I don't dislike jazz or classical, but so much of it is so soothing that it ends up putting me to sleep. So I don't get to listen to it for long to really appreciate it because it knocks me out. That being said, first one is going to be some hip hop. DMX Exodus. Never got to hear this album when it first came out, as hip hop definitely was not my primary focus. However, after X's passing a few years ago, I definitely wanted to try to get some of his stuff back in my collection. Once upon a time, I owned It's Dark and Hell is Hot on vinyl. I owned Flesh on My Flesh, Blood on My Blood on vinyl. And I think I owned, and then there was X on vinyl. You guys heard the story. Had to get rid of all my stuff back in the day. Needed to move, needed money fast, sold my turntables, my vinyl. Kind of kick myself now because I see some of that stuff online, and I see what it's going to cost me to have to reacquire some of that stuff. And it hurts to have to put that kind of money out again for used stuff, not even brand new. But this was fairly inexpensive, brand new. Scored a deal from a seller on Evil Day. They have a lot of stuff, and they have the little button that you can click to make a best offer. And I was able to negotiate some lower prices on some of the stuff I'm going to show you because I was buying more than one record. Next one I got here is from Randy Houser. We're going to make a little switch in the country. His album called Note to Self. Randy Houser is somebody who I've been a fan of for quite a few years now. I owe a lot of it to my old roommate. We would go and see him every time he came to town. Oftentimes, it was an SRO, standing room only, general admission situation. So we'd go, we'd get there, we'd be one of the first in lines, we'd be right up on the barricade, right up at the stage, able to get some great photos of Randy over the years doing that. Even got to meet him one time. We were so early to a show at the House of Blues in Anaheim, California, just down the street from Disneyland, that we were hanging out at the bar, and he was in a closed curtain section having the production meeting with the team. And once he came out, he walked right past where I was sitting. I was able to get a selfie with him. Selfie isn't great by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a horrible selfie taker. I'll own that. But I got to meet Randy Houser, and so to get into this new album of his, this new music that he's been putting out. Looking forward to hearing it. This next vinyl comes from an artist who I really admire. I'm a huge fan of hers. You've seen me wear her shirts on shows in the past. Kelsea Ballerini and her album entitled Kelsea. This came out just a couple of weeks after the world shut down in 2020. And it really sucks because there is so much good stuff on this album. And she never really got to tour to promote it. So a few months later, I want to say this came out in March, late March, like I said, a couple weeks after the world shut down. I want to say October. She released another version of this that she affectionately called Ballerini. And she basically stripped away all the production. So that when and as we were able to start loosening up restrictions and have shows again in smaller, intimate venues, she was able to perform some of these songs in like a coffee house or at a bar or something along those lines outside of the traditional arena, stadium type of setting. So she stripped everything away, but the songs on this album are just fantastic. You've got Overshare, you've got Club, you've got Homecoming Queen, which is by and far the biggest single from this. The Other Girl with Halsey. You've got Hole in the Bottle, which the version on here is just her, but the single version that got released became a duet with Shania Twain. Half of My Hometown with Kenny Chesney. LA, about how she has a love and hate relationship with Los Angeles. Again, I adore Kelsea and her music. I have 3 of her records on vinyl, still sealed in plastic. I know it sounds crazy to leave them sealed, but I also have her CDs that I listen to in the car. And the vinyls I kind of want to leave sealed until I get the opportunity to meet her, because I want her to sign the vinyls rather than signing the CDs. Next one is an artist, Thomas Rhett. It's the album Life Changes, which has the title track, of course. It has Craving You. It has Marry Me. It has a title called Renegades. I'm going to have to give that one a listen to. Maybe I can snip a little bit of it to become like my theme song. Smooth Like the Summer. Too bad we didn't know about that one when we did our summer send-off back in August. But I mainly got it for the title track, Life Changes. You know, one of my favorite quotes comes from John Lennon, and it's, "Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans." The song Life Changes is very much that type of mentality, and how him and his wife are preparing for all this stuff, and then life throws them a curveball. And life changes. Definitely recommend it. So this one is the one I found at a pawn shop. And originally they had it marked for $25. I don't know if you can see that. But because they're so close to retirement, they knocked 50% off. So I only paid $12.50 for the White Stripes Greatest Hits. And again, it's a greatest hits album. So Fell in Love with a Girl. You've got their version of Jolene. You've got Icky Thump. You've got My Doorbell. You've got Seven Nation Army. You've got all the stuff of theirs that everybody knows and everybody loves. And I rattled off just the ones I spotted quickly. The Hardest Button to Button is on here. Like, why the heck not? Like, I enjoy enough of their songs that I feel like 1250 for their greatest hits. That's not a big deal. This next one, though, this is the one that I told you about that I got at Target, and there's a little bit of a story to this. So this is No Doubt's greatest hits. And I went into Target, and I kid you not, it was on clearance. You can see the clearance sticker, but I don't know how good it's going to pick it up. The clearance price on here was $27.99. And I'm thinking to myself, these albums retail brand new for like $29.99, $34.99. This has to be a mistake. So I found one of the team members. There were some other cuts over there that didn't have stickers at all on them. So I wanted to see if those were supposed to be there because there was more than one copy of the record that I was actually inquiring about. And apparently they weren't supposed to be there. They got placed there, whatever. But then I showed him this and I was like, why is this one still $27.99 clearance? And all the other albums here that have clearance stickers are like $11.99, $8.99. It doesn't make sense to me. It does not compute. Splain, Lucy, splain. So he's like, well, let me scan the barcode and see what I can do. He scanned it. He's like, it'll let me mark it down to $11.99. I said, if you do that, I will take it. So I went over to the cash register there in the electronics department. He rang it up, $11.99. No Doubt's greatest hits. Target exclusive, 2LP, silver vinyl to match the silver cover here. And I mean, guys, it's No Doubt it's their greatest hits. Just a Girl, It's My Life, Hey Baby, Bathwater, Sunday Morning, Hella Good, Underneath It All, Spiderweb, Simple Kind of Life, Don't Speak, Ex-Girlfriend, all here. I remember when No Doubt broke out on the scene with Tragic Kingdom. So to have their greatest hits on vinyl in my collection, definitely looking forward to cutting that open and listening to it. Now here's where we start to make a little bit of the transition over. Still pop, still rock. Steve Perry. Brand new album. A few weeks ago, you heard me talk about Street Talk, his first solo album during the Journey era. Oh, Sherry, Foolish Heart, Strung Out. He had a second solo album. And then once he left Journey in the mid-90s, Steve Perry kind of just faded into obscurity, left the business. And then, as I hear it, he was in a relationship, he was married, and his wife was dying. And one of her final things was for him to get back to his music that he loved so much. To stop hiding, to stop withholding his gift, get back and share his gift with the world. And then there was Traces. And 10 songs of Steve Perry back to form, including a cover of a Beatles song. You guys know me and the Beatles. The next to last track is a cover of I Need You by George Harrison from Help. George's version is a little bit, I won't say fast paced, but it's an up tempo, love song. Steve's is gut wrenching. It almost comes out as a cry to his dying wife, as opposed to a man who's lost his girlfriend. Because, the words, you don't realize how much I need you. Please come on back to me. I'm lonely as can be. When you think about it in the context of what Steve was going through, probably at the time of recording it, it just makes it that much more gut wrenching. On the subject of Steve Perry, after that, he put out The Season, a Christmas album. And it's got his versions of the Christmas song, I'll Be Home for Christmas, Winter Wonderland, What Are You Doing New Year's Eve, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Silver Bells, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, and Auld Lang Syne. And that distinct Steve Perry voice even comes with a Christmas card inside of it, which, again, once it gets to Christmas time, I will be spinning that along with these next couple of records I'm about to show you. But I look forward to hearing his takes on those Christmas classics, definitely. Like I said, little bridge there going from Steve Perry to Steve Perry Christmas to Christmas. Lady Antebellum's On This Winter's Night. And I know they've changed their name to Lady A to try to be right with everything. This came out before that, so it still says Lady Antebellum. Don't come at me. But their version of Holly Jolly Christmas. Christmas, baby, please come home. All I want for Christmas is you. I'll be home for Christmas. This Christmas, the Donny Hathaway song. First Noel. Then you've got the title track on side 2. You've got Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Silent Night, Blue Christmas, Silver Bells. I love these three. I'm sure you will see a lot more of them in the coming weeks, months, and years as I'm able to find some of their other albums on vinyl. But I'm a huge Lady Antebellum fan. Lady A fan, be politically correct. The last record I must show may surprise people that I'm a fan of this. But when you hear how I became a fan, probably won't surprise you. But Lindsey Stirling, Warmer in the Winter. Again, Christmas album, Lindsey Stirling. She's got the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy on here. She's got You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch with Sabrina Carpenter. She's got Christmas Come On with Becky G. Carol of the Bells, Angels We Have Heard on High, I Saw Three Ships, Let It Snow, What Child Is This, All I Want for Christmas, Jingle Bell Rock, Silent Night, Santa Baby, the main title from Home Alone, Somewhere in My Memory. I'm very curious to hear this and listen to her versions of this. Now, Renegade, how did you become a fan of Lindsey Stirling? Well, there was a music video back in 2015 for Josh Groban, Lindsey Stirling, and the Muppets doing Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I was sold. I was already a mild fan of Josh Groban. He's got some songs that I like. I'd probably have to wait for a greatest hits album of his because I don't think I get into enough of his music to warrant buying the individual vinyls. Huge fan of the Muppets, obviously. Huge fan of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But hearing their take on that classic song and her and the way she plays her violin just sold me. That's going to wrap up this week's episode of The War Zone. What did you guys think? Let me know. Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. Are you fans of Lindsey Sterling, Lady A, Lady Antebellum, Steve Perry, The White Stripes, No Doubt, Kelsey Ballerini, DMX, Randy Houser, Thomas Rhett? Let me know your thoughts on these artists, these albums, these songs in the comments below. Let's engage. Let's have that conversation, that discussion that I'm always asking you guys for. And until next week, when we will once again step into the war zone with another edition of the Weekly Acquisition Report, I am the Renegade JJ Williams. See you guys next time.